And welcome back, Mindsetters. I hope you had a nice little break there. You went and did whatever you had to do, and now you can come back and focus, and you've got your pens and pads out, and you're ready to make notes. But now, this is where I now hand over to Mr. Lou, who's going to take over. Lou, take it away.
Cool. Guys, we were having a look at some of the questions, and one of the things that caught my eye was guts. Now, not you have guts to get somewhere. We're talking about things on the inside of you, the gut. So your digestive system, right? So we had a look at, before we get to guts, we had a look at symmetry. So how we can put them into different symmetrical parts. Asymmetrical, you get your radial and you get your bilateral, right? And then we started having a look at whether it's got a coelom or not, or if it's a true coelom or not, right? And remember, I said it gets more complicated as it goes along, okay? The next thing we're going to have a look at is guts. Now, guts is not as difficult as you guys actually think, okay? Guts are not difficult. You either have a through gut or you don't. It's very easy. Okay, now, animals that I'm going to bring up is going to show you which is through guts or not. It's through, hey, as in starts here and ends in the back. Okay, that is a through gut, one pipe. Okay, I'm going to show you right at the end. Now, there's two types, as I said. The first type is they eat and they get rid of their waste through the same hole. That is quite strange. Okay, so just can you imagine this? If we had to, and I might sound a bit gross, but think about it. You go have a nice bread, your sami, you eat it, take all your things in, and then you throw up there, and there we go. Okay? Now we've wasted it. Now, that sounds a bit gross to me. Now, I can do a lot of things, but vomiting is not my thing. So I'm happy I've got a through gut. Okay? The first one, as I said, it eats, it takes its food in, and it gets rid of its waste through the same hole, exactly the same hole. Okay? And then the second one, is it's got an opening for the mouth, and it's got an exit part. Okay, so it's two holes, one for waste, one for ingestion. Okay, one to take in the food, which is quite cool. Thank goodness I'm the second one. Okay, now, problem with having a gut like this. The non-through gut. Non-through gut. That just doesn't make sense. But anyway, well, what happens is they cannot have specific regions for specific functions. Like, for example, they haven't got, let's take it as a heart or a stomach or things like that, right? They've got specialized cells and things that's going to do certain jobs, but they don't have, as I said there, they don't have separate regions with specialized functions. So they don't have a heart that does the beating of the blood around, right? They've just got something else that does something similar, right? So that's what happens with a through gut. Where you don't have a through gut, and the through gut is us taking the one end, comes out the other. That is cool. Now, if I take it to the next, I've done this quite nicely. Look at this. This is unbelievable. Okay, there is two guts. The one is a through gut, and the one is not. Now, let's take myself and you, and I don't have ties like that, but anyway, right? We have a look at it. And sorry, Ty. We have a look at it.
See what I have to deal with.
We start with a food particle over there, right? It comes through, it goes into the stomach, into the small intestines, and it goes all the way. I can't see that right. So let's hopefully we can try this one, right? There it is, and we're going to go through. Hopefully that's better, right? And go all the way around. It goes into the small intestines, goes into the large intestines, comes out all the way through the rectum, and then out the anus, right at the bottom. Can you see how went in one, out the other? That is completely opening from the top to the bottom. It's a through gut, right? If I had to draw a human like that, we'd have his head, right? There's his head. Me and this side of the board never works. Right? You have his head over here, there's his nose and his mouth, nice lips, trying this very hard, And there we go. There's his head. It really looks bad. And I'm going to stretch him all the way down to his anus at the bottom, right? And I'm going to join this. Where did I put his nose? There's his mouth. There we go. So that's going to come down. It's going to go all the way down to the bottom and out there all the way to the top. That is what we actually look like. That, if I stretched it, right, it's going to start at the one end in the other. Somewhere over here, we're going to have a stomach. Somewhere over here, we're going to have the small and large, the small intestines. Somewhere over here, we're going to have the large intestines. Then we're going to have the rectus, and then we're going to have the anus there at the bottom. One long thing through, from the top to the bottom. If this was what we were like, if we could stretch Tar from Cape Town to Durban, hopefully that's far enough for him, right? And his gut was there. We could actually take a marble and drop it in his mouth, and it'll run right down and come out the other end quite quickly. We could race it with a car, which is quite cool. That is a normal through gut, right? When you don't have a through gut, this is what we have. Okay, we're going to talk about things like this just now. Now, this is a little bit confusing for one reason and one reason only. Okay, it comes through two different holes with this, but it's a nice way to explain it. Okay, I've used this picture. It makes sense in some way. Okay, now I'm going to use this picture later on again, but I just want you to think about this. If the food comes in here, does what it needs to do, and goes back out there. That's why I use this picture. It just shows you. It's not really how this thing eats, okay? But this, I'm just having a look at the shape that it is. It shows you quite nicely. Food goes in and out the same hole. Okay, now, one creature that I can help you with to get this is your jellyfish. A jellyfish, they take food in its mouth and gets rid of it out its mouth again, which is quite cool. Now, this is not a jellyfish. You can see that's not a jellyfish. So I'm actually going to erase this for that main reason. I don't want you to make mistakes with that. I was just showing you what it's like. This does not have a through gut. In actual fact, this thing eats by this way. The water comes in here with all the food and leaves there. But it does not have a through gut. It doesn't have all these different areas where it's got to go through, right, which is quite nice. Now, let's go on to the next slide, because now we're going to start looking at specific things, right? I want you to have a look at this big word, porphyria, right? These are sponges, not the stuff you wash yourself with at night, not the stuff that you wash your dishes with, right? These things, a type of sponge, I love looking at sponges. They're beautiful, right? And you do too. I'm telling you now, you like sponges. Now, if you've ever seen the tropical islands, can you just picture this? Tropical island, soft water, no waves, right? And you put your scuba gear on and you go into the water. What do you see?
Sea life.
Okay, what's sea life? Give me something that looks nice.
Coral fish.
Very nice. Coral, forget about the fish. Coral, right, is a type of sponge. How cool is that? Mm-hmm. So coral is sponge, right? Now, this thing, you get them in salt water and in marine water, right? Okay, here's a nice big word for you. Sedentary, which means it's in the ground and going nowhere. That's where it stays, nowhere else. Fastened to the ground, it's going to start there, it's going to die there, that's it. It's fastened to something that has to be submerged in water. Okay, it's got to be in the ground, underneath water. It gets its food from water. Now, this slide that I showed you earlier, I'll show you now what it is. That slide there is actually the internal structures of sponges, right? But now, if we have a look at it, it's found submerged, first of all. Second of all, it's found in fresh and salt water, mostly in salt water, right? And the body plan of it, this is cool. Now we're going to start looking at body plans. There we go. Think about it. Body plan, asymmetrical, right? Remember that first picture we had a look at? Asymmetrical, right? It has a two-body layer, epidermis and endodermis, two layers. Cool. And the layers are separated by a jelly-like mesophyll. Now, remember I said to you there's two layers, but there's something in between them. Okay, it's not cells, but there's a jelly-like substance, just to separate the endoderm and the ectoderm. Okay, there's no cells. Cool? That's the jelly-like structure, which is the mesophyll, right? And then you get the outer layer containing porocytes, which allow water in. Porocytes. Pore. There's the main word, pore. Remember I said to you that water comes in the one side and leaves out the top? Remember I had that huge animal that looked like so, right? Oh, that was terrible. Looked like that. Remember I said that in between, no, wrong way. In between there was this pore, you could see it. And remember I said to you the water goes in there and out there. Okay, it's got the pore, those are called porocytes, right? Gets its food and water and everything, oxygen, everything from there. It goes in, nice, it goes in there and out the other side, okay? Those are your porocytes, very nice. The inner layer contains condocytes. Now, that's a bit of a problem for me. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back to the previous slide. It shows it nicely. Okay, there it is. Can you see this funny thing over here? Okay, that funny thing. If I go back, that funny thing over there, okay, oh, I don't want to go too far. That funny thing over there looks something like that. Okay, that there is let me go down. That thing there is a chondrocyte, and it has flagella. That's that funny little, you see this little thing over here? Okay, that little thing is like a waving arm. It's like your hair in the water. It waves, and so cool. Now, the reason why it waves, if I pull this down a little bit more, the flagella, okay, I'll get you there. The flagella actually move the water in and out. So it actually pulls the water in. Because there's little flagella all over the place over here, it pulls the water in, and it makes it all nice and grabs the food and all of that. Right. Now, lastly, the mesophyll, remember I said to you it's got that jelly-like substance, right? That has got amoebocytes in it, okay? Remember I've been telling you about that amoeba living cell, right? One of our type of amoeba cells, you won't believe it, is our white blood cells, okay? They go through phagocytosis, and that's going to help you. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to leave it there for this week. I will see you next week, so don't go missing, right? Come back. I will start here, and we'll carry on, and we'll go from there. Okay, hopefully I'll see you next week. Ta.
All right, no problem. On that note, Mindsetters, I hope you had as much fun as we did discussing all the different things and the guts. And yes, I almost said disgusting because I still have this haunting thing. And Nele just pointed out to me, and I was just like, I don't even want to imagine having one blind gut. That's not. I don't even want to think about having to eat and then it come. No. Anyway, on that note, this is where I say to Mindsetters, make sure you get on the page. You keep chatting to us. Let us know if you're enjoying it. If you're not sure on anything, but keep talking to each other. But on that note, this is where I say cheers and see you next time. Hey.